So once again, this end-to-end Azure Synapse Analytics and Power BI demo can be installed from this GitHub site. Here's the link up at the top, and it's also included in the description. And it is using CMS Medicare Part D data. It's 150 million rows of real data, approximately. Let's take a look at some of the changes to the Power BI file that's included with the solution. On the summary page, you'll notice that I've added a smart narrative visual. And when you publish this up to the service, the underlines won't be there when you deploy it to your end users. That's just to show you the data that's being pulled from the actual data set while you're in development using Power BI Desktop. If you start clicking on some different things on the screen, you'll notice that it recalculates the values that are in the smart narrative. So whether you're clicking on different specialties, you'll get some different insights into what's within that data. Or if you click on a individual state, it'll give you some specific information for the data in that state. And it gives your end users a nice narrative of the different types of insights that are contained within the visualizations that have been put on this page. Next, I've added a Q&A page. Q&A is an amazing feature that just keeps getting better. This is actually a visualization that you just add to this page. You'll see right here, it's a little question box. I've added a few suggested questions so you can get some interesting insights and kind of learn how to ask questions of your data. So for example, if I were to click on cost per claim by specialty and drug name, where generic name is lisinopril on a matrix, it will run that query against the data model, and you'll see by specialty the different drug names that are branded names for lisinopril and what the cost per claim was for different specialties. It also adds in some nice little data bars so that you get kind of a cue to where you might want to look within the data. And you can also change this question. So for example, after I specify the generic name, I can say and state is Texas, and you'll see it reruns the query and gives you some different results. So it's a very useful way to interact with your data and use natural language in order to get some of the insights that you're looking for. If I go ahead and clear that question, you'll notice that there's also some other examples on here. So show total cost and cost per day by state on a matrix. Let's say I want to reorder those columns by cost per day. I can click on cost per day. And let's try something different. Maybe show cost per day by state. We hit enter. And you get cost per day by state. Notice that I filtered it for just US states because there's a lot of two-digit codes in there that make the map a little bit messy for demonstration purposes outside of the continental 48 states plus Alaska and Hawaii. Maybe we want this on a bar chart, or maybe on a pie chart. So a lot of different things to try out here. There's quite a bit of documentation online if you want to look at some of the other things that you can do with Q&A. I've also added a page for the Decomp Tree. This is a visual that was originally available in ProClarity before Microsoft even purchased ProClarity back in the 2000s. Was a fan favorite with many customers, and so they brought it back for Power BI. I'll show you a little bit how this works. So if I go ahead and move back to just total cost, when I've pulled total cost into this visualization, I can select an individual attribute that I want to go ahead and filter by, or I could just look at what the high value is going to be for breaking things down, and that's specialty. So you'll see the highest total cost is internal medicine, then family practice, so on and so forth. Within internal medicine, maybe I want to look at things by generic name at the next level down. You'll then see that a specific type of insulin is at the top of the list. I can go down to drug name, and you'll see there's a couple different branded names for that type of insulin. And then I can go all the way down to state. And you'll see New York has the highest total cost for that particular item. What's interesting is then you can actually kind of reorder the hierarchy. So if I wanted to instead look at this drug name, I just click on it and everything refilters. If I instead wanted to look at family practice, could look at family practice and it refilters the entire hierarchy. So you're going from an all-up view of what is the all-up number for the year 2018 for US states, all the way down to individual states for a specific drug, having a specific generic name, having a specific specialty. Another page that's been added is for the AI visual of key influencers. So over on the left here, you'll see we're filtered for the year 2018. We have a list of generic drug names that we can search for. And we also have the key influencers visual here on the page. And you'll notice this is a pre-built visual that you just drag onto the page and then say, what do you want to analyze and what do you want to explain it by? In this case, we're looking at what influences the cost per day to increase. So let's go ahead and look at a specific generic name. And if we just look at lisinopril, we'll see that the cost per day increases as the cost per claim goes up. If we also add lisinopril hydrochlorothiazide, you'll see that a specific drug name has a higher cost per day. And you'll also see that the cost per claim goes up when cost per day goes up. And also the day supply per claim goes down when the cost per day goes up. We can also clear the filter and look at other medications. For example, you could start with specific generic names of insulin, or you could start multi-selecting different combinations of generic names of insulin to look for trends of what's actually influencing that cost per day to increase. One additional page that's been added to this demo is small multiples. Now, what small multiples will do is it will take a standard visualization, in this case a bar chart, and it'll break it out by category. In this case, it's breaking things out by state. You can see that we have year on the axis. Cost per day is the value that's being calculated, and state is what each individual bar chart is representing. You'll see that I disconnected the 2018 filter from this visual specifically so that we could have all 6 years of data on the axis. Over here on the right, if I were to pick a high cost generic name and click on it, you'll see that this is just a apixaban for cardiology. And when I click on that, it refilters the small multiples so that I'm just looking at that particular product with that particular specialty. And you'll see that you can scroll down and compare how that changes over time for different states. Switch it to a different specialty, you get a slightly different graph. Move to a different drug and a different specialty, and you get additional different information. And what's nice about this is you can visualize trends over time for specific slices of data for multiple categories and try to use that kind of visual cue to find where there might be an outlier that's trending a different way than the rest of its peers. Once again, a link to an article where there's more information about this demo is included in the video description, along with a link to the GitHub site where you can deploy it in less than an hour with just a few clicks in Azure Synapse and Power BI.